episode of Easy Talk is brought to you by Crenshaw and Associates Consulting Group, who is committed to providing their clients with both the highest level of services and expertise in consulting services. Welcome again. Welcome to another episode of Easy Talk, real talk for true entrepreneurs. And just like every episode that you have attended and watched carefully, this one you want to get your pen and paper out again. We have with us on the show Mr. Reggie Crenshaw. He is a community leader, he's an entrepreneur advocate, he's a consultant, and he leads this city with passion and heart. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to every word that comes out of his mouth because he is truly a legend here in the city of Memphis. Let us welcome Reggie Crenshaw to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. So good to have you here. Thank you for coming. So first, our audience always wants to know something fun. You know, we get serious and all professional, but tell us a little fun secret about you that we may not know.
Yeah, well, I love to travel. I've been to 22 different countries. My favorite country that I've been to is Antigua. Antigua's a beautiful place. Love the people. Love the island, love to get around, and it's just a wonderful place to be.
Wow.
So, 22 countries. I'm trying to get it to 25 pretty soon. So 3 more countries on the way.
Wow, awesome. So let me give you guys a little bit more background about Reggie because you will definitely be impressed. Reggie Crenshaw is a dedicated servant leader with a long-time commitment to community service and professional excellence. As an owner of Crenshaw and Associates Consulting Group, Reggie has a track record of excellence in organizational management, operational efficiency, revenue enhancement, and strategic initiative road mapping. When I tell you Reggie has worked hard, not only for the city of Memphis, not only for his community, but for small business owners and nonprofits. So again, let's give it up for Reggie because we've got a lot to talk about.
Amen.
Wow. The U.S. Army.
Yeah.
Wow. So I imagine your self-discipline, your dedication, your innovation came not only from your parents, but from all the years that you served in the Army. And if I'm not mistaken, you got up to captain?
I did. And it was an amazing time being able to do those things and get to that point. I would tell you that the most amazing part about being in the military had a lot to do with understanding who I was as a person, right? So when you grow up, your parents are always putting things in your mind and in your heart to tell you these are the things that you need to do. But you don't really realize those things until you step away and you have to live on your own.
Yeah.
So being in the military, living in different countries, being exposed, and you're not able to always communicate to people the same way because you're having that language barrier. The only thing that they can feel is who you are, your values, your morals, and whether or not you care for them.
Yeah.
So I had many situations where I had people from different countries that reported to me, but they all felt the same, like I was treating them just like they were Americans, because at the end of the day, I was going to fight for them and they were going to fight for me. And my number one objective was to make sure that they were safe and that they knew what the plan was. No different than being in any type of company.
Not at all.
No different than being in any type of community. As long as people feel that you care, they're willing to help you. And as long as you're willing to help other people, it gives you an opportunity to help everybody grow. I had a friend who said to me one day, he said, look, you give all of this advice and you typically give the advice for free. How come you don't charge people? And I said, well, I just haven't been brought up that way.
Yeah.
I've been brought up to help people.
To help.
Right? And it will eventually work itself out. But if you come from a spirit of helping, good always follow people who are willing to help. Look at all the people that surround you. Good is always surrounding you because you help so many people.
And when you do it from the heart and with passion,
Absolutely.
people know that this is what you do for a living.
Right.
They're going to send you referrals.
That's right.
They're going to be able to treat you in such a way that you're going to get those connections that you need to make the money where you need to make it.
Absolutely. So I had a friend of mine that I did some consulting with not too long ago. And I call him a friend, but the way we met each other, it was an introduction at a conference from the head of a conference. It was J.D. Powers.
Oh, wow.
And so J.D. Powers introduced me to the person. And it was years later when I was leaving Service Master, I was at home and I was like, well, I wonder what I'm going to do. And then I get this text message or this message in LinkedIn that said, hey, do you have a minute to talk? I said, sure. I talked to the person, and that was $1 billion company.
Wow. $1 billion
Company. And they ended up giving me an opportunity to do work with them. And I ended up being like one of their best vendors that they had. I was listed as one of their top vendors. So that person who brought me in called me the other day and said, Reggie, is there anything I can do for you? I said, no, not at this time. He said, man, I just feel bad because I'm always asking you to help me. And I do, with not really asking for anything from me in return. So our community of entrepreneurs is really that type of community. We have to go back to the days where, as an entrepreneur, way back when, they used a broker system or barter system.
Yeah.
Right?
Trading services.
Trade services to each other. There wasn't a cost. There was a trade of service because I know how to do something that you don't know how to do. You know how to do something I don't know how to do. And that's how we all grew.
That is how you grow, because you know what? To be registered with MMBC, to be registered with the city of Memphis, to be registered with Shelby County or any city in the U.S., they're going to ask you for a capability statement for your certification. And on your capability statement, you have an opportunity to list your past performance, companies that you've worked with. If I've done work for you and you've done work for me and we've worked and helped each other, that's where you can go ahead and put that on your capability statement, and you got the help you needed. I was able to help you. We're building our business together, and we can use each other for referrals.
Absolutely.
That's where that comes from, because think about it. When you're just starting your business, you've got to be able to prove out your services to get those big deals.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people don't want to pay you what you deserve in order to get that because they don't know you, right? There's nobody to refer the business to. But if you say, hey, let's use this trade and barter system, I can help you with this, you help me with that, you refer me, I refer you, and let's lift up each other.
That's right. And then the other thing is it gives you valuable experience
in doing what you do.
That you may not have had the opportunity to do. So someone said to me, they said, well, Reggie, why did you take that job? I said, because I thought I could do it. And so what they asked me to do, they said, okay, we need you to help us build out a model for how we hire people and how many people you need to have in a certain role. And so what I did was I built a model, but I realized in order to build a model for how you staff people, you need to build a model for revenue. So I had to build a model for revenue, and then they said, okay, you built the model for revenue, so how did you know how much revenue? And I said, because I had to build something called price elasticity. And you know that from your days in marketing, right? So price elasticity is a measure of willingness to buy. And so I use metrics to determine how big the market was for them, how much revenue they had in each market based off of zip codes, based off of information that I got from, the business of labor, the business unit of labor. I think it's like BLA or something like that you go and pull up. And they gave me all the detailed data for their industry. I did the comparison, never seen the information from the company. And when they saw my reports, they were shocked. And the reason they were shocked was because they said you came within 6% of the numbers that
they had. That's pretty close. That's pretty close.
Yeah.
But that also shows them how to take their report and create supply and demand.
That's right.
You would know exactly where the target audience is and how to put the supply where it needs to be and generate demand where it needs to be.
That's right. And so by doing that, it put me in a totally different level of communication with my business partner, with my client. And I call them business partners because I really was a separate entity for them to do a lot of the analysis and help them figure that out. And so once I did those things for them and helped them, we also had a team of people because I partnered with some other people, and we did cold calling to understand how their competitors were doing. And once I shared the information with them on what we were doing, they said, well, we wanted that information too. So I picked up new clients in the process. So I would tell you that being an entrepreneur is so important because a lot of times where you get your experience and your exposure is by reaching out to people, not being afraid to take that next step and do something that you may not have done before, but being able to leverage all your skills and your faculties in order to direct it into a pathway where you can have positive outcomes.
but you've got to have a strategy.
Absolutely.
You've got to have a strategy. You've got to have a plan. This is what I'm going to do to grow. And what I see, the one mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make, Reggie, is they do not create a plan. What does your roadmap to success look like?
That's right.
You can't just wake up and jump out there and think it's going to come.
Yeah.
You've got to strategically place yourself in places you need to be, network with people that you need to network,
Right.
and service the clients that's going to get you repeat business.
Yeah, and more importantly, with that strategy, you have to be able to tap into what your strengths are. You know, oftentimes people say that they want to be an entrepreneur, but the area they're trying to be an entrepreneur in,
It's not where their
it's
strengths
not
are.
where their strengths are. So then what happens is there's a disconnect between their ability to sell their product, and they have a disconnect in selling their product because it's not their core strength. So a lot of times we have to figure out how to align ourselves with our strengths. If it's not your strengths, you have to put in the grunt work to learn it,
Yes.
to be effective at it. And once you're learning, you're effective at it, then I think there's a huge probability that you can be successful.
You've got to know your industry.
Yeah,
You've
so-
got to know your industry. You've got to do that comparison
Yeah.
analysis. You got to know who your competition is.
And you remember, I talked to you about my son. My son,
Yes.
he loves marketing. So my son, when he went to college to be a marketing person. But one of the primary things he did at college was he ran track. He ran 400-meter hurdles for his college, Belmont University. And I remember he would throw parties at Belmont, and he would tell me he would have like 2,000 people show up to his parties.
Wow.
So that's where the promotions came from him, right?
So he really loves marketing.
He
That is his
loves
strength.
marketing. And so I kept talking to him over time, like, hey, the people that I know, they do promotion of events as a side thing that they do.
Right.
And they have a full marketing company. But the other piece is their side piece that they focus on and how they get additional money that comes through other streams of revenue.
Right.
So he didn't really hear it until I was searching when I was at Leadership Memphis. I was searching a site for grants, and I saw this grant from the CDC Foundation that was focused on influencer marketing. And I reached out to him and said, don't you remember you were doing some influencer marketing? He said, yeah. I said, I want you to look at this grant. So they looked at it. They put a proposal together. I reviewed it, shared it with them, but they did all the work, and they won that grant. It was $1 million a year.
What?
Completely changed how he saw things. And so now once he had that, the promotion side was a secondary item. Focusing on, a business was his primary item. And he since, launched his business, and he's doing like $2 million a year in revenue.
Wow.
Just doing that, focus on like influencers, helping them get their product out, and making sure that other people are exposed to it. He really takes all the work that people don't want to do
And does it for them.
So,
Because he's helped me. I was in his program in the beginning.
oh, I know, I know. And you're just, blown past that program. So, at the end of the day, you got to focus on your strengths. You have to do something that you have a passion with, right? And, most importantly, just because it's your strength and just because it's your passion, you also have to know when, to fail,
Yes.
right? And we talked about this a
Yes.
while back. Failing
Failure
fast.
is not fatal.
Right.
Fail and fail fast.
Right. Fail and fail fast. And what that means is every job that we do could be the right job, but it might be the right job for a season. And it may mean that, there's an opportunity for you to move into something else that's going to bring you more value, you intrinsically more value. I spoke to a gentleman the other day, and he was working on a team, and he was really struggling with the team. And he said to me, he said, Reggie, I'm really struggling with this team. I said, well, okay. Why are you struggling with the team? He said, because everybody isn't operating the way that I would operate. They don't think the way I think.
Oh.
And I said, well, what do you mean? Because the best teams aren't always
Yeah, that's a good
people
thing.
that think like you. He said, no, that's not the issue. The issue is they don't have the same timeliness. They don't have the same energy. They don't have the same drive.
He's got to build the culture for that.
What's happening is I'm running into an issue of like people doing work because I end up doing it all myself. And I said to him, I said, well, at the end of the day, you have to realize that some of the people that you have on the team, might not be the right people for your team.
Because if you've got to do the work, what are you paying them to do?
That's right.
So there needs to be a clear accountability.
That's right.
And those one-on-ones that he needs to have with them individually will help him to be able to determine what role they need to be in. Everyone wants to add value. But if I'm not in the right role to add value, it is my job to be held accountable for my career. But if my boss, my leader can see that and help steer me in the right direction, then there's no fallout.
That's right. And guess what? As an entrepreneur, you are the head of your business.
You are.
So when you have people who are doing work for you and they're not modeling the culture, modeling the vision, having the passion that you would have for it, you really have to think twice. Is that the right person that you want to be associated with?
And
your
have
business?
that conversation with them.
Exactly. So there was a time that my wife and I, we flip houses. We were trying to flip a house. And in this house, just to describe it, you can have different types of counters. Counters like you have Korean counter, you have marble counter,
Granite counters.
So we had Korean counter, and we didn't really want to spend the money and making it granite. So there's an opportunity where you can spray the Korean just like you spray a bathtub, so it's pearly white. You can spray it with something that looks like granite. So we were spraying it, and the person who was a vendor for me came in and he sprayed it, and I went in and I could rub my hand on it, and it was rough and it was coarse. And I said to him, I said, this isn't right. This thing's supposed to be smooth.
Granite is smooth.
And so he said, oh, we made a mistake. We went through this process 3 times.
Three times.
So I sent a message to him and I said, hey, I am at the house. The granite or the Korean, what you sprayed it with, is not smooth. He said, I'm not doing anything else until you pay me. So I went in.
But at this point, he hasn't even proven himself worthy to be paid because he's done it wrong 3 times.
That's right. So I got on the phone and I called another person and I said, hey, can you come by and look at this? And he looked at it, he said, oh, the counter is not smooth. What it looks like is that when he was spraying the counter, painting it, he forgot to put the exhaust machine in that actually pulled out the sediment from the air so it wouldn't land on it. And I said, can you fix it? He said, yeah, I have to take all this off and I have to do it over. And I said, that's okay. Go ahead and take it all off and do it over. He did it within 3 days. Whole thing finished, everything smooth. House sold for way more than what we thought. The person who bought it was extremely happy. My point was, the person I was talking to never really had an ability to understand that I am my product. If I don't produce my product right, somebody else will come in and produce the product
Which
right.
means you lose revenue.
That's right. And so going back to like being an entrepreneur, you are your product. Anybody that is on your team is a representation of
your
you,
brand.
of your brand and your
Yes,
product.
Sir. Yes,
and
sir.
if you don't surround yourself with people, like we talked about earlier, right? The connective team, right? So you could have your own business, but you have a function of your business performed by another business and another business. If you all aren't working together as a connected team where you're executing the right way, it makes you look bad.
It makes you look bad at the end of the day.
That's right.
And I talk to a lot of contractors and their primes. And they need the subcontractors to help them get these big jobs done that they're getting, especially around Memphis. There's a lot of them happening right now.
That's right.
But they know and understand that the prime has to be the right person. It's not about cheap labor. It's about how you're going to represent me, because at the end of the day, the client is calling the prime.
That's right.
So if we're not working together and on the same page and has the same value and vision for what we're doing, I can't have you on my team.
That's right.
It's not personal.
It's not personal. So like today, we've kind of talked a little bit about HR.
Yes.
We've talked a little bit about operations. We've talked a little bit about marketing. I'm going to talk a little bit about legacy.
Let's do it.
Right? So legacy is so important because none of us want to start in a role, whether entrepreneur or working for a nonprofit or working for a corporation, without a thought of what does this look like for you long term.
Right.
And I don't mean what does it look like for you as an individual. I mean, what does it look like that you can say you did that gave back to your family, to
generations
your
to
community,
come,
or generations to come. I always think of it from this perspective. My parents used to tell me, you need to be a person that helps other people. And the reason they told me that was because they said, that's what God put us on earth to do.
It's to help each other.
It's to help each other. So if that's what God put us on this earth to do, which is to help each other, then how are we living that out each and every day? We talked already about being able and willing to share information with people. That's one way of helping. Giving back to the community, doing things in the community, whether it's in your job or it's things that you do on your own, that's also important. But the third thing is being able to spread and teach what you've learned down to younger generations, family members, people that you're connected to, because ultimately the more you spread that knowledge, the better we as a community can improve. So I've learned that so many different ways because it has been so important for me to be able to share. That's why I mentor. That's why I speak to people about entrepreneurship. That's why, volunteering was so important to me and still important. At the end of the day, I believe that God has given us all a calling, and our calling is not to be single-minded. Our calling is to think about the community as a whole and to help one another.
Yes. And Memphis has done such a great job in these last, I want to say 3 to 5 years, especially that I've been an entrepreneur. I've seen it. People sit in this chair and say, I want to help. Reach out to me. How can I help you? Because as strong, successful entrepreneurs, we have learned that we will not be blessed and our business would not grow if we're not helping others.
That's right.
You've got to be able to have a heart for what you do, be passionate about what you do, and willing to help others.
That's
and
right.
that was one of the main reasons I started this podcast show, is because I wanted young entrepreneurs, people that were thinking about being an entrepreneur, to hear about some of the successes and failures and things to do for them to grow their business.
That's right.
And this concept has really helped so many people.
I'm sure. And, everything that I've seen from your podcast, it is so amazing, the focus that everyone has on just being available, right? Unfortunately, in our community, and when I say our community, I'm specifically talking about, the African American community, we don't have a roadmap or like a playbook that's taught at the kitchen table where we talk about this is what it takes in order to be an entrepreneur.
Not at all.
We don't
Not
have
at all.
that.
Not at all.
And it's not because we don't want to have it, it's just because we're in the first rounds and the first phases of that
ourselves
happening.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so now we are all teaching our kids, our loved ones, our other family members how to succeed at being an entrepreneur. So I would just say to you, keep doing what you're doing.
Well, thank
This is
you.
amazing. It's a wonderful thing to be able to create a platform, to be able to share lessons and learning so that other people can grow. And I would also say to all the people who are watching, don't be afraid to fail. But if you're going to fail, fail fast.
Fail fast.
You need to know when something's not working, and you need to know when to pivot, because the art of pivoting is going to keep you in a sound mind and in a better shape. Because oftentimes what happens is we will force ourselves to keep doing the work, thinking that more work is going to end up being success.
And it's not defined by the work. It's the quality of the work.
Exactly.
The quality of the work. Reggie, I want to ask you a question. Share with us, we talked about failure. Share with us the first time that you realized that failure was okay. How did you get comfortable with being uncomfortable failing? Because failing, no one wants to fail, right?
Yeah.
But it's that next opportunity, that lesson learned that you get from the failure that makes you say, okay, I'm just going to get out there and do it, because you got to learn from it. Give us an example of something that helped you to see that I've got to fail and fail fast.
Yeah, so when I was in the military, I had an opportunity to be on a team when I was in the military. And that team, when I first got there, that team that I took on was ranked 18 out of 18 teams.
Oh, they were dead last.
Dead last in the whole division. And even though that had happened before I got there, the simple fact that I was on a team
That was your team.
and that was my team,
Yeah.
just did not make me feel comfortable.
And there was nowhere to go from there. You were already down. You were already at the bottom.
So I thought that no matter how much work that I could do, I could change the team as long as I just put in the work. And we had 3 people on the team that ended up like either doing something illegal or something wrong, where they ended up going to jail from the team. Short of the story is, new team, process that we were going through was the right process. We ended up ending in first place out of 18 teams.
Yay!
All because we stuck with the plan. The plan, you know, God always has a way of helping to manage through plans. The people who ended up leaving were replaced by people who were committed to the plan.
And they gave you an opportunity to bring new people on the team.
That's right. And then shortly thereafter, after moving from 18th to first, I ended up going to Somalia.
Oh, wow.
So it was fortuitous for me to have spent the time working with that team to improve where they were, so that when we went to a wartime scenario, I would not be in an uncomfortable position because I was scared of the performance of my team. No one got hurt. Nothing happened while we were over there. As a matter of fact, we were always in the right position to help other people. And I look at that and say, just that one time or that one experience in going through that has let me know no matter where you are, there's always an opportunity for you to improve and to go from worst to first, as long as you're committed to a plan and committed to accentuating the strengths and then bringing in resources that can help you with your weaknesses.
You just gave the secret to entrepreneurship. That is the secret to entrepreneurship. Because starting out, you've got a blank sheet of paper. You've got nothing.
That's right.
You've got to have the mindset to say, I can improve and make this better. How do I do that? And then being able to recruit the right people, letting them play to their strengths in the lane that they're best performing at.
That's right.
And when you fail, you learning, you talk about it, you grow, and you move forward. I love that story mainly because you were able to see what you were made out of.
That's right. And guess what? At the end of the day, the most important thing about the team that you recruit is an ability for that team not to be scared of feedback.
It's a gift.
Oftentimes when people are given feedback, it turns them off. They feel like you're punishing them, and they don't understand how to receive it. So I have this generational gap. I have a 30-year-old son. I have a 29-year-old son, and then I have an 11-year-old son. Right? So the 30-year-old son, I talk with him and we just have regular conversations about how things are going.
Yeah.
My middle son, he wants to talk about business, right? Because that's the thing that he's really heavily focused on. He talks about his girlfriend, but we talk about business a lot. My 11-year-old son, we spend a lot of time talking about, you know, hey dad, you know, school and sports and games. And so when I give him feedback, it's very different. I have to say to him, hey son, you did a great job on this. But as soon as I say, but you could have done this, the look on his face becomes like
he's disappointed.
Really sad, like disappointed.
Yeah.
And then I have to flip it back and say, but you did a great job. And then one day I just said to him, I said, listen, you need to understand, I wouldn't give you feedback if I didn't think you were capable of being better.
That's good. That's good.
I said, you need to understand, feedback is not your enemy. Feedback is something that helps you to improve. And there's a difference between feedback just given just to be given versus feedback that's meant to help. You can always tell it in a person's heart. A person who gives feedback who has, you know, ill intent, you can see it coming a mile away. A person who's giving feedback because they know that they see more in you than you see in yourself, you can see that a mile away, because the person who does the latter is willing to stay there and help you.
They will walk with you.
The person who does the beginning, they're just going to give you a whole bunch of noise, and it doesn't even sound like it's even joined together, just like a bunch of noise. So for us as elder statesmen in the entrepreneurial game, it's important for us to be able to help people and provide them constructive criticism, but also be able to like give them platforms like this so that they can talk about the positive things that they're doing. Because I often find out when you're having a conversation about yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, you're more willing to talk about what you've done well and
Right.
what you haven't done so well, and that makes people feel more comfortable in saying, I've been through that too.
Right. To know that you're human.
That's
To
right.
know that you know that you failed.
Yes.
You've accepted that you failed, because a lot of times we don't want to admit that we failed.
Oh, absolutely.
So when someone can say, you know, I did that, I messed up, here's how I fixed it, I don't want you to have to go through that. That's when you know someone cares.
That's right.
This has been some good stuff. I've gained so many great nuggets. I'm ready to go do some things different now myself. Before we go, Reg, I want to ask you one more powerful question. Can you share with us some of the strengths from your Crenshaw Consulting? What are some things that we as entrepreneurs can come to you for?
Yeah, so there's 3 things that we specialize in. The first one is we're deeply rooted in process improvement, continuous improvement, helping people understand where there's places where they can gain operational efficiency, improve the work that they're doing, better formalize how their processes work so they can have better outcomes from their teams. The second thing that we do is strategic plans. We know how to help do a deep dive into a strategic plan, enabling people to understand where there are opportunities that they can explore. We use data. We use industry benchmarks and information to help us try to figure those things out and be able to communicate those things. The third thing is all things operations. So we spent a lot of time in customer experience modeling, journey mapping, enabling people to understand how do you develop the right operational design so that you can create the right outcomes. So if you think about efficiency, efficiency is across broad basis on everything. If you think about strategy, strategy is what leads you to get to where you want to be. So you've got to build things right, more efficiently, do work more efficiently, but you got to have the right strategy, and then ultimately at the end, you have to have the right engagement with people. That's why customer experience is so important, and fulfillment or operation is key to that.
Yeah.
So
and measure. How do you measure that success?
That's
Because
right.
you can't manage what you can't measure.
That's
so
right.
you've got to be able to put some measurements in place to be able to manage where your success is leading.
That's right. So we've had, as a company, the opportunity to do strategy work in nonprofit and for-profit. We've also had the opportunity to do a lot of customer experience work, broad-based. So I told you the company that I worked with, that was $1 billion company. We did it for their company, and it was an international company. So
Wow.
we did it across multiple countries. So my prior job that I had at Ford, I was responsible for 26 countries and 19,000 people, and rolling out the customer experience and process improvement throughout that whole group.
And I can see how your military experience
Yeah.
globally helped prepare you for
Oh,
those
yeah.
type of roles.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of roles that involve me traveling to different countries and whatnot. So when I talk from this perspective of those 3 things that I know how to do, it's because I've done them a lot when I was in corporate, and I've also done them a lot outside of corporate. So I would just charge you, if you ever need my services, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at Reggie@CrenshawConsultingGroup.com, which is the easiest way to do it. Or you can call me at 980-292-4141.
Well, I am so glad that you were able to take a few minutes to come on the show, because I wanted to expose entrepreneurs to you and how you can assist them as a resource for their business. I am always telling my clients and entrepreneurs that I meet, don't plan for where you are, plan for where you're going. And that strategic plan is needed. You don't want to wait until you have to hire an employee to say, what is my culture going to look like?
Yeah.
What kind of interview question am I going to ask them? What strengths do I need from them? That process needs to be laid out so that when you see the person, it triggers something in you to say, oh, that's what I need on my team. Oh, I need them for that. But if you never laid out that structure, then you can't properly plan for who needs to be added to your team. And then you end up with turnover and firing people and this not working out and them not showing up because you didn't know what to look for when you were trying to build your team.
That's right.
So that strategic planning is necessary, and you don't want to wait till you get into that before you start planning for it.
Oh, no. It needs to be something that you have top of mind. And the other thing is, we talk about, smart, goals and whatnot, but I'm just going to say it a simple way. Do not bend and flex. You need to be in a situation where you can say, this is what I feel like I can do without bending. I need to be able to do just this. The more you can be very to the point and very specific around what you're trying to do, don't shoot for the sky. Make it be achievable. Make it be something that, you know, is very specific and it's achievable. Get early wins. Early wins are essential to being successful as an entrepreneur. Nobody wants to go down the path of being an entrepreneur and every time you try something, you fail.
Right.
You have to have
You won't
early
have any
wins.
hope and inspiration in yourself.
You have to have early wins. And I've heard people say the whole thing, well, you know, Benjamin Franklin failed so many times. I said, but we're not Benjamin Franklin.
And you need money. You're an entrepreneur.
need
You got
money.
a family to feed.
You got people to feed. People depend upon you. You need to make sure that what you're doing is not a hobby. It is your real career. And if it's your real career, you're going to put major emphasis around making sure it's successful. So bite-sized chunks, make it be very specific, make it be something that's achievable, and just keep tackling
that process.
those things on and on and on. And then what will happen is you'll have a string of successes that will formulate your game plan for your company. Right?
And then you can give that to someone else, and
That's
you can go and build and add to your business and say, now let me go learn more about this. Or I saw when I was doing A that B and C were needed. Let me get some specialty and education in that. I'll get Bob to do this, and I'll do this. And then you can pass B to Tiffany. Now you work on C. And before you know it, you've added to your tool belt.
That's right.
You don't have to go into it with the whole kitchen and all the tools in the sink.
And let's remember what we talked about before, who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
Bob and, you said Susan?
Tiffany.
Bob and Tiffany are the two that you're going to have on your team. Well, when you have Bob and Tiffany on your team, Bob and Tiffany need to model the same core values that you have.
Yes, because that's your brand.
That's your
They're
brand.
representing you.
That's your brand. You want them to have the same level of intentionality around getting the work done. And you can't have people on the team that don't take the same level of interest in their product like you do. So just remember, we would never be in the situation where Alicia would bring people on her podcast that she didn't believe had the same type of core values that she has, or that would be a strong representation of her brand to you. So we all have to be in that mindset of iron sharpening iron and surrounding ourselves with people who are willing to do the work, and do the work not just for ourselves to have some type of glory, but have people who are willing to do the work in the community so that others can continue to improve and grow. So as long as we come from that perspective of helping other people, I think we are in the best possible position that we can be in. The entrepreneur ethos here in Memphis is growing.
It is.
It's growing.
It
And
is.
what that means is we have to create avenues and platforms like you have right now to be able to help one another. It's so important, because that's how you end up with, you know, Silicon Valley, where they're all there and they're helping each other, and they have this community where they grow together.
Because we're stronger together. We're
That's
stronger
right.
together.
That's right. And the more we can do with each other, the more you can get external funding that might come into the market and create clusters that allow us to be even more successful in the future. So we all have to think about it not on the smaller scale, right? We're entrepreneurs. Right now, in many cases, it's a job. But we want to turn it from being a job into being a business.
Yes.
And in order to make those changes, it requires all of us to be ready and be prepared for the future.
Yes. Now, I'm going to say like the preachers do. I know the Baptist preacher. Now, this was not a shout you sermon. This was not a shout you podcast. We don't have the glitter and glam that we have from our influencer. We don't have barbecue from A&R Barbecue. We had somebody that did bouncies and party stuff and all of those things. What we are trying to teach you right now is to help you understand how to grow your business and build a strong foundation.
That's right.
You need to be able to understand what that looks like. Where are you headed? Don't be afraid to fail. Have a strategic plan. Reach out to Reggie or someone like Reggie that can help you really see where you're growing and how you can leave a legacy, not just for your children, but for other entrepreneurs, other people in your community. So I hope you were able to take some great nuggets from this show. We are here to always help you and support you in your efforts as an entrepreneur. So please stay tuned for the next one. Share this episode. Subscribe to EasyTalk if you have not done so already. And remember, we are always here to help you. This is Real Talk for True Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you again, Reggie, for being on the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
This episode of Easy Talk is brought to you by Crenshaw and Associates Consulting Group, who is committed to providing their clients with both the highest level of services and expertise in consulting services.